Program. We're pleased you're with us today, and we're also pleased to welcome Mandy Gunasekara, former EPA Chief of Staff during the President-elect Trump's first administration. Hey, Mandy, good to see you again.
Hey, good to be with you, Gerard.
Well, I tell you what, the President-elect is wasting no time getting down to work. He has been quite active, holding press conferences. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, honestly, Mandy, that even within 2 weeks of the transfer of power, you've seen the president who was elected really steal all the air out of the room from the sitting president, which isn't a terribly difficult feat, honestly. But he's going to work.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, he said he would. He's already having a massive impact both here and abroad. And he's going up to D.C. today. He'll be meeting with senators. He's going up for former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. He's officially laying in state at the Capitol now. So that's what's taking him to D.C. But then, like you said, he will be in Washington, D.C. and has already begun working. I'll say this, you know, the campaign was so organized and so focused. And then all of that energy and sophistication really shifted to the transition period. They wasted no time. And all of that is showing itself with the president. He's going to be meeting with senators to mainly talk about two things: nominees, obviously getting his cabinet and people in place, keeping that momentum and that ball rolling forward, and then the reconciliation slash budget bill. There's a 2-bill versus 1-bill approach that's going on, negotiations going on in Capitol Hill right now. But the president wants to get the government funded. He wants to get a boost for immigration and deportations, address some energy issues that have reared their ugly head, and then also deal with some expiring tax credits. So he's got a lot on his plate. And like you said, he is not wasting any time, and everyone's loving it. I mean, we're already seeing positive impacts from his actions, which has really restored a level of optimism I really haven't seen for quite some time.
Yes, Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, who really seems to be running the show with respect to the transition team. She seems to be an incredibly good pick, very competent, very skilled, and, of course, was by his side throughout the entire campaign. Did you have a chance by any chance to work with her directly, Mandy, in your role in the administration? Did you know her?
I knew her not really well. I didn't work directly with her. I would say indirectly. She really has been more on the campaign political side, where I was more in the policy circles about the time that we were at DC together. But the people I know that know her, I mean, she's a complete pro. And what's great about her, and you see this, anyone who's paying attention sees the fact that she cares more about getting the job done and making her principal, which is the president, look good, versus making herself look good or trying to step out and you know, gain any sort of personal attention. You can tell she is doing this job for the right reason, and it's to support President Trump in his effort to, you know, restore this country to the greatness that it should be across the board in all the various ways. So she is already doing such a great job. I've been seeing how she's been managing some of the media tensions that have bubbled out there. The media loves when there are dueling parties within the president's circle, his closest circle. And I think that she's really tamped down on a lot of that already and made clear, look, this isn't about any one person. This is about teamwork and doing the job the American people have sent us to do, to Washington, D.C. And she's already been a rock star on all fronts.
She's also vowed to just block any troublemakers there in the West Wing. She says we don't have time for that. She says, I don't welcome people. I'm reading her quote. I don't welcome people who want to work solo or be a star. But I think that's the way it should work. It's not about them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that was a problem in the first go round. I remember going into meetings at the White House, high-level confidential meetings, and before I physically left the White House campus, things that had been said in that meeting with a small group of purportedly committed folks working for the president had already leaked to the media. And it was leaked to the media for purposes of subverting agreements we had all made. in the office, so in this situation, whatever it was. And so anyway, she's tamping down on that. She's bringing in people. I would say they're filtering people a lot better on the front end this go round, in terms of people filling important leadership positions. And so, yeah, I think if any troublemakers do happen to get in, what we saw with the Trump administration first round, I'm sure will be the case second go round. They have no problem letting people go that lose sight of the fact that this is a mission oriented position, not about any one individual. But there is a lot of work to be done at hand that's extremely important. The American people rightfully have high expectations and they will deliver. And so if people lose sight of that, they're not afraid to let them go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you indicated, a busy legislative agenda as well. We've got, I guess, probably the highest priorities, as you suggested, immigration, energy, and then, of course, the expiration of the so-called Trump tax cuts, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. At the end of the year, Mr. Trump has indicated that he would like to see one big, beautiful bill, as he describes it. But yesterday he said he'd be okay with two if that's what it takes to get it done. And that seems to be the way that the Senate's leaning. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, seems to be leaning more towards that single bill, consistent with the president-elect's initial desire. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think it's an indication that both leaders of their respective houses, so the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, they've got different caucuses they have to deal with, and the fact that the majority, it's slim margins on both sides. So I think, Speaker Johnson's looking at his caucus thinking we can probably get the most bang for our buck if we do the one bill approach. And Senator Thune, and it often is the case of senators, they want more time to think on certain things. And there is less of a immediacy in terms of the Trump tax cuts. Most of those do not expire until the end of the year. So he's looking at, well, let's prioritize things by, what's needed in the first 100 days to really get things going. And you see President Trump going there, getting a feel for it, and making sure that he doesn't lose sight of the tools he needs to fulfill some of those first 100-day goals, which he has primarily said is going to really focus on immigration, reducing energy costs. And now, as I know you've covered, he's going to have to deal with the fact that Biden is trying to use his last few weeks to put as many places around the country off limits in terms of energy development. So he'll be dealing with that. The Trump tax cuts, that's going to be great for the economy. It was the first go round. Solidifying that is certainly what a lot of people want to see, but there's more time. So I just think it's a reflection of how the various houses look at these sorts of things and what they think they can ultimately get done. You also have the Senate dealing with all the nominees. And so they're going to try to parse out and evenly deal with floor time. Floor time is the most precious commodity, especially in the Senate, when there is a slew of nominees the president needs in early on to start getting the agenda done at the administrative level.
Yeah, so it's going to be a busy, really a busy 90 to 100 days. What I've seen the Speaker of the House say is he felt like they could have a bill hashed out by the 1st of April, transmit that to the Senate. It would take them, he thought, 30 days or so to work through that, maybe have some, of course, conference and reconciliation, and then to the president's desk by late April, early May for signature that would cover all these areas. Of course, he's already announced, President Trump has nearly 100 executive orders day one. Are you familiar with what his plans are there?
Yeah, I am with some of them, certainly on the energy and environment, and most of the environmental front is deregulatory in nature. As you know, and we've talked about it pretty extensively, the left has used the role of a lot of agencies. EPA is the tip of the spear of agencies with legitimate missions, but the left has used to implement economic engineering or social engineering goals to the detriment of the economy and businesses getting up and running. So there's a lot of efforts focused on reducing permitting, the timelines, and making it a more efficient process. There are a lot of efforts to unleash U.S. oil and gas. And the president has a fair amount of authority to send signals to the marketplace that the U.S. economy and the oil and gas industry that fuels it is open for business. And so he's got a slew of those lined up. And he's probably gonna do just signing that day one on and on and on and get things going really quick.
Yeah, basically said he's going to reverse every anti-fossil fuels policy that his predecessor, I should say, enacted through executive order. Mandy, always good to talk to you. Appreciate you joining us. Great insight. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Gerard.
You bet. We're coming right back, folks, in the Alabama